Hi there. In this video, I'd like to show you what index columns and custom columns are all about in Power Query. If you have a query like I have here, and you want to assign a unique value to each row, you would create or add an index column. On the Add Column tab in the ribbon is the Index Column button, and if I just click it, it'll assign a unique value to each record starting from 0 and incrementing in 1. Let me just delete that step. What if I want to add a unique value to each record, but not starting from 0, starting from 1? Then I'll hit the drop down on the Index column and say from 1. This also creates a new column called Index, assign a unique value to each row, but starting from 1 instead of 0. Let me just delete that step. What if I wanted to create an index column that assigns a unique value to each row starting from 1,000 and maybe jumping in 5s? I'll go to Index Column drop down, choose Custom, bring the window into view. I want to start from 1,000, but I want to jump or increment in 5s. If I click OK, I've created an index column that assigns a unique value to each row or record starting from 1,000 and incrementing in 5s. So that's what your index column does. Let me just delete that step. So what does a custom column do? Let's start by going to, say, the employees table or query. Now, every one of these employees works for a company called Northwind. So I want to show that in my data so that I can use that in my pivot tables and in my reports. First thing I'm going to do is go to Add Column and Custom Column. This window appears and I give the column a name, Company, caps lock, Company Name. And then in here, I put my formula. Now this is a really basic formula. This formula is just to show that all of these employees work for a company called Northwind. So double quote, Northwind. Double quote is used for just text. And so this is just to put this text entry against each record. And so when I go OK, I can see here that I have a column, custom column called company name, and each record is now assigned the company name Northwind. I'm just going to go to transform and move it to the beginning and then drag it to the right of title. Beautiful. I just want to do something to home phone only because of something coming up shortly. Oh, it's already named phone. Cool. Let me give you another example of custom columns that is not just text. Let's go to orders 1997 to 2000. In this particular query, we have a column called net and a column called units. What I want to do is create a custom column that says unit price. It grabs the net value, say 110, and divides it by the units, say 40, and that's the unit price for each item. So we go to Add Column, Custom Column, and I'm going to call it Unit Price. Let me bring this into view. The formula in here, I'm going to press square bracket. Square bracket brings up a list of all the columns you can refer to. So I want to refer to the net column, so I double click net. Divide it as a slash and then square bracket. I want to divide the net by the units, so I could down arrow to units and press tab. Or I could double click. It tells me there's no errors that have been detected. So when I go OK, I will have created a custom column called unit price, which grabs the net value and divides it by the number of units. And OK. And there is my unit price. What I'd like to do is show that as a decimal, not as ABC123. So I'm going to change the data type from all to a decimal number to be more accurate. Okay. Now I'd like to create a conditional column, which is something that we looked at in an earlier video, but I want to bring it now because I want to show that if somebody spends over $1,000 net with us, then they are actually eligible for a 10% discount. So I'm going to go Add Column, Conditional Column. This conditional column I'm going to call Discount. And I'm going to say if the net is greater than or equal to 1,000, then they're entitled to a 10% discount. Otherwise, which is the else, it's 0. When I click OK, I've created a conditional column which is showing either 0 or 10%. Well, it's not actually showing it as a percentage. So let's fix that by going to the data type and changing it percentage. So they either qualify for 0% or 10% depending on how much net they've sold. So this person here sold 1681 net, so they're entitled to a 10% discount. And that's a conditional column. Now let's create a custom column that uses that conditional column. So we go to Add Column, Custom Column, move it into View. We're going to give this column the name Gross. And the formula is going to be square bracket, grab the net tab, and multiply it, open bracket, by 1 plus whatever the discount is. Square bracket, square bracket, DIS, and there's my discount. So your discount appears in the list of fields even though you created that as a conditional column. And then close bracket. So the net is to be multiplied by 1 and the percentage. So if they got 10% discount, it'll be 110% discount. The discount will be on top of the net, and that'll be the gross. I'll go OK. And here we are here. So this person spent $1,681.65, which qualifies for a 10% discount. So that on top of that gives you 1849. All right, and then we can format that to a decimal number.